Good evening. My name is Jeremy Jones. I'm a senior mass communications major at Norfolk State University. Here today I have Miss Joan Williams with me, and she's gonna talk to us and tell us a little about herself. How you doing today, Joan?
I'm doing well,
That's
Mr.
good.
Jones.
That's,
I am.
that's good. Thank you for stopping by and
Thank you
having
for
this
asking.
interview with me.
Okay.
Okay. So how you doing today?
Can't complain. God is always good.
Isn't he?
He is.
That's good. All right. So how about you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a senior citizen and I'm in my late 70s and I'm still, thank God, very active. I just came back today from the college where I got my computer upgraded and did some changes, additions to it. So I'm kind of abreast in some ways as far as the internet is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I do homeschooling with assisting parents. At least I did last month,
Okay.
month before last October, and but I really so I enjoy working with children and staying abreast of most of what's going on in society, and especially in the academic world.
Okay, that's real good.
Hmm.
I like how you just put all that together. It seems like
Yeah,
you just seems like you're real rooted in helping people and children in general.
especially yes.
Okay, that's good. So you're saying how you thank God for everything. So I can say that you're very religious.
You could say that
Okay.
as far as people say religious, but I have a relationship with the Lord, so
Okay.
it goes beyond just religious or
Okay.
religion.
Okay. I
Hmm.
feel you. That's real good. So are you married? Do you have any kids or anything like that?
I have been married and I have had four adult children that are all adults
Okay.
now with their own families and marriages. And so, but I'm no longer married.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is there any reason why? Do you mind me asking why? Did it? You not married anymore, or is it?
Well, I was divorced after 42 years of marriage.
Okay, that seemed like a long time.
Yes, it was. And I'm going to be, it's been maybe for 14 years now. So we had been married 40 years.
Okay. Yes. This seems like a very good time to have kids and build a very good life with your kids and
And my grandchildren, I
grandchildren.
enjoy
Okay.
so much.
Okay.
As you can see around my home,
Mhm.
nothing but grands.
That's good to hear. So, so can you tell me about how life was when you were a kid, or just how it was growing up in this world?
I'm glad you asked that because somehow it's the way I grew up. It wasn't the world wasn't as materialistic. Children knew, for instance, my mother read bedtime stories to me. That's one major thing that I think lacks in our families today because both parents, either one of them works at night, the other one, or both parents work.
Hmm.
Let me just say that. And usually there's little time to put Junior to bed and read him a bedtime story. But anyway, and I did that with my children because I just love doing it. And so it did carry over in my children's generation, how my mother brought me up. Another major thing, I think, but it's very minute in the fact that we all ate at the table.
Hmm.
Nobody, you know, had their plate in front of anything. Well, computers and we didn't. In fact, when I came along, we just didn't. My father didn't like TV,
Okay.
so there was only one, maybe two people on our block that had
Wow.
a TV. And yes, so that and so my childhood, I would relive it again because of the quality of family, each other, siblings, um, playing in the yard, simple things. We, hopscotch, we played jacks, and we had competition, jump rope. So there was competition going on, even within each other in the neighborhood, or even with your siblings. So I have no complaints about the way my parents, only one worked, my father worked, and we had, for Christmas, my mother made a chimney.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a Christmas tree, and each of us, I had, there were five of us all together, um, and I was the second oldest, uh, and if we were good, if we had four gifts, very good. Usually we averaged three apiece, and they were all clothing, so we didn't get very many toys. We got Sunday and a Sunday outfit or something like that, but we were excited and glad. A sweater, whatever, and but what I liked about this time of year, holiday time, especially Christmas, was that we used to go in the neighborhood at church and sing,
Mm-hmm.
sing at nursing homes for older people, and sing Christmas carols. And it was simple, but it was rich.
Okay.
I wouldn't trade it for anything that the children have nowadays. They get Nintendos and expensive, tech, toys that are technological, and
Mm-hmm.
yet I don't know that they really, value what they do get as far as being grateful for the sacrifice that their parents had made, and that's not to blame any. I'm not saying all families are that way or all children, and they're not to be blamed. It's how society programmed the children beyond those that are in the 50s. Let's say even the baby boomers are in the middle between my children and my age. So the baby boomers are like in their 60s now.
Mm-hmm.
So they may have a flavor of it all, but as children get, the Bible said children get weaker and wiser, and they are wiser now, little great grandchildren. I don't have any great grands, but I do notice children that if my grandchildren had children, I notice how that age is. They become very enclosed within themselves, and feel like entitlement, is there. They take off in that area,
Mm-hmm.
like it's all about me and mine, and So each generation gets less and less um, aware of the environment and giving of themselves,
Okay.
as I see it anyway.
Okay. That's good.
Maybe.
So even with your life and how it progressed, what kind of adversities did you have to face growing up in this time of the world?
Mm. Okay, in society, as
Just
far as
society, life, in your family, school, things of that nature.
adversities. Well, okay, World War II was, I do remember a little bit of Pearl Harbor. I remember that my father in the newspaper and him, having to absorb him too long. The he was explaining Pearl Harbor and how we were taken by surprise and so on. That brought like a heaviness in the atmosphere, my being in January person, born in January, I'm inclined to be like a melancholy and sensitive. So I could pick up in the atmosphere the dreariness of how people seem to be at that time in America. That is like a national blanket, that heavy blanket that fell over our nation. And naturally, I was only like at the oldest 7 years old, I think,
Okay.
around that time. So actually, I was old enough to know what was going on. But now, adversity as far as the family, thank God glad my father was healthy. He was very conscious of family, the importance of family. Um, Adversities in the home, we there were times, you know, we had it scarce, as far as we never went without a meal, but also we were thankful for whatever we got. We,
Okay.
sometimes even when I got married and had my children, we had it very scarce. A couple of times I would give them mapo for dinner because that was the only thing we had in the house at that time, particular time. And that was in the 60s,
Okay.
early
Okay.
60s. So when you say adversity, I can't really, I guess living in America, we were we know so little about what other countries go through as far as going to bed without a meal. And I know that still happens today, even in our country, and certain homes where mountainous areas where there's not a lot of employment and so on. Children are known to go to bed without a meal, but yet there are so many provisions made for that not to happen nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Not only churches and ministries that provide a food program, but also there are other provisions that are made through in the government that make that less anyway, greatly so
Mm-hmm.
than ever was when I came up. So I consider myself